Hi class, today we're going to make two new boxes. One of them will take the form of an input box and the other one will display the golden ratio depending on, and it will be as accurate as our series that we are creating. So the longer our series, the more accurate our golden ratio will be to the actual golden ratio, which is an irrational number, so we're never going to get it perfect, but we will get pretty close. So we left off with printing n number of the Fibonacci sequence, the first n numbers of it. I also looked up the Fibonacci sequence, and it actually starts at 0, not at 1. So I need to change that real quick, and that's pretty easy to do. I just have to, instead of pushing 1 to start, we're going to push 0 onto our list to start. So our first item will be 0, our second item will be 1, and then so on and so on. And if we then come and hit the refresh button, it gives us this new offset by 1 on the Fibonacci sequence. Should have done my research before last lesson, but it's fixed. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make I'll take this div tag and just put it up like that. And then the next one we're going to call golden ratio. And I'm going to give these each a class. Output box. And all the things that they're going to share visually in the CSS, I'm going to hook into the output box just so I don't have to type it over and over again. And then anything that's unique will go into their IDs. So let's go back to the CSS, and we're going to start that these are dot output box. And then we want them to have different positions and height and widths. So that's going to be what goes in the ID tags. And so our Fibonacci one will have this, and our, I think we called it just golden ratio, is going to have different coordinates if nothing else. But I would like it to be allowed to have different height and width. We may also change the fonts a little bit, but right now I think it's okay. So this top I'll say is 40. And the left will be maybe 40 and 50. And let's see what this looks like. I kind of want them to just kind of be hovering around on the page. And oh, I did something wrong there because let's see, I didn't spell golden ratio right. Let me make sure that it's called the golden ratio. Yep. And let's hit the refresh button again. And so now it's a little bit too far down on the page, so I'll bring it up a little bit. And maybe even make it a little smaller. So the top shouldn't be 40. Let's make it 30 and 21 and 34. Again, I'm trying to make these golden ratio Fibonacci numbers. And let's see, let's use 8 and 13 for that one. For the width and the height. So we'll say this is 8 by 13. It's only going to have one number in it, so it can be a little smaller. So there, and this is going to display the golden ratio. So now we're going to write some text or some code. We'll call it function generate golden ratio. And we're going to still need a count because we need to know how deep do we want to go to find our golden ratio. And so we're going to say var f for the Fibonacci sequence equals generate sequence, and we're going to count. And then we're going to say the var golden equals, and we want the bigger number divided by the smaller number, so it's going to be f count minus 1 divided by f count minus 2, and then we're going to return gold. And we have got one more thing to do. If we hand in a count, if we give an account that's less than 2, we're going to break. So if count is less than 2, we'll just return 0. And so, and then we can say, let's put our comments above this. So generate golden ratio. Input is a count. Count is the number of Fibonacci numbers to calculate the golden ratio. And then the output is the golden ratio. Yeah. Now we want to also display this, just like we have a display sequence. Actually, can we reuse this code? Reusable code is always good. No, I don't think that's enough to reuse, so we will come down here. We'll say function display golden ratio count, and just like the other one, it's going to be a pretty simple display. It's going to first get the golden ratio. We'll just call that R. And then, just like we had in display sequence, we're going to get element by ID, and we want to have an ID. I guess we're going to call that N as well. And that's going to equal R. And that's going to look a lot like our function up here. So so we'll just change the function name in our comment. The input is count, the number of Fibonacci numbers to calculate the golden ratio. Input N is a div tag that our web page with the ID is equal to N, and then we print the golden ratio. And then up here, we could say display golden ratio. And we can put that in the other box. And the other box again was named golden ratio. And it's going to go 20 deep, and hopefully this works. 50% chance that it will work. And so it didn't work. Maybe it was a 20% chance that it would work. Hit refresh. That's a little interesting, so let's check this out. Generate golden ratio, 20, comma, golden ratio. Let's do this. Console.log r. something doesn't want to. Calling. Oh, we're just generating it. I'm just calling the wrong function up here. Let's display it. And display will call generate. So let's see if that works. There we go. And that is an approximate 1.618 is an approximate value of the golden ratio. So that's one step. I would like to now make an input box. And so that the user can put a number into the input box, and then we can generate based off of the number that they type in the input box. So let's come back to the index.html, and we'll do another one. Now, for an input box, it's going to look a little different. So we're going to say how to make an input box HTML. And there's W3 schools. And right there, that looks perfect. That's exactly what we want. We don't really need a form. We just want an input. Actually, so let's look at the example. And so we're just looking at this input here. And so I'm going to grab either one of these because then I'm going to modify it to be ours. So yeah, we want the type to be text. The ID is going to be, I guess, count. The name can be count. And the value will start at, we'll say, 10. And let's see what that does without anything. So there's our input box. I'd like to make it look kind of like the other stuff. Actually, I want it to look a little different so we know that it's an input rather than a display. So let's say input box. I'm going to let it stay where it is. All I'm going to do is take this code here, and instead of yellows, I'm going to make blues. So everything that was yellow is now blue. And RGB, so we're going to say like 0, 0, 255. So I'm not even going to the generators. I'm just I'm using the same everything except that it's and actually, you know what? Maybe it should be 18 and 18 and 255 since 18 was the old blue color. So just kind of inverting. Let's see what that looks like. And if it doesn't look great, I might modify it more. I'm not getting anything there. Let me see what I'm expecting something. So the ID is count. Oh, but wait. Oh, so I want the class to be input box. There, it's got that blue tint to it. The number's blue, and we can move it around later. But now when you change the number, I want it to automatically change here. So I'm going to go back to our textbook, which is Google. I'm going to say JavaScript input box changed. And it's called onChanged. So I'm going to say onChange So for this input box, when the input box changes, we want to call a specific function, and we're going to say update display. Now we just need to write update display, which is going to be really simple. So we go to our JavaScript, function, update display, and we are just going to say display sequence. And now we don't want 20, so we're going to say var n, or let's call it count, equals get element by ID. And we want to get our input box. Again, we called our input box count. So get element by ID count. And I think it's dot value. I'm going to try that, and then we're going to pass this count in to both of our display sequence and our display golden ratio. And if this works, we only have one more thing to do, and we'll call it a day. So if we make it 1, oh, nothing happened there. Let's just check what's going on. Get element by ID is not defined, so I typed something wrong here. Oh, document. Get element by ID. Sorry if this video is going a little bit long. We're just about done. Okay, and so 1 return. I would like it to have on change without it without having to hit return. So let's do one more Google search. Change event, no return. No, on change. And right now, I guess we're going to stay with the you press return for it to work. In the next lesson, we will update that last piece. So if we want 5 items, there's 5, there's 10, there's 100, and so on and so on. So thank you. I hope you found this interesting, and I will see you on the next one.